Hawkeye Report. You've integrated Brendan into that goal line package. Would you ever think about maybe third and short, those fourth down plays, maybe integrating into that as well?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, right now we haven't given it a lot of thought, but we'll see. And just happy to get him in there involved. He's practiced well, done some good things, and certainly gives us a little different dimension. So, those are things we might consider as we move forward.
John Steffi, Cedar Rapids Gazette. Quite the first 3 games for Jacob Gill, leading the team in receptions. How have you seen him kind of adjust from not being here in the spring to kind of getting up to speed so quickly and adding kind of a different dimension to his offense?
Yeah, it's a real credit to him because, to your point, I think the next most significant point he got here in June, late newcomer. Wanted to finish up school. He had his previous stop, and I think it's a real credit to him. A little bit like Nick Jackson, Rusty Fett a year ago came in after spring ball. But those guys really got up to speed fast, and I think the biggest thing is he's really, everything about him is really impressive. Just a very mature, serious, focused guy. And as I've said before, that's a room that was lacking experience and lacking production. So I think, as much as anyone, we want to get a guy who has been around a little bit and has gone through this, and he's just really operates at a really high level, and most importantly, practices really well, and that's how he plays as well.
Chad, let's go to Moine Register. Have you ever, this is my first part of the question, have you ever gotten the answer why you guys always start on the road in the Big Ten?
Start what, on the road?
18 out of 26
No.
now. 18 out of 26.
How many? 18
out of 26 years.
Wow.
Including 3 in a row.
It's a good percentage, right?
It's almost impossible statistically. But anyway, but you guys have been a good road team. You won 6 years last set on the road. What does it take to be a good road team? You obviously have to be this year if you want to accomplish your goals.
Yeah, I think you do just in general. If you want to be a really good football team, at our level, you're going to play at least 5 away games. Typically it's 7 and 5, so that's just part of the deal. And I guess we're still flip-flopping on. There was one year where we flip-flopped too, so I can't keep track of it. But the first thing, you can't worry too much about it where you're playing. I think you can worry about the game. And then to the point about being on the road, sometimes it's almost good in a way because it really forces you to be even more focused if that's possible, and not just assume, hey, we got the comforts of home and the crowd's going to be behind us and all that. We know it's going to be exactly the opposite of that, and it's a great thing about playing in our conference. Everywhere where you go, there are really good venues to play in, historic, and a lot of tradition. So, but it really gets down, I think, to being able to focus on what is important. Realize it's not a field trip. We're going up there to do something, and it's only 72 of us, so it's a little smaller number, and that's what you got on the sideline, and it's basically us against whoever's there in the stadium. Most importantly, opponent.
Scott Dockman in The Athletic. Kirk, I know you've said quite a few, in the last few years, a lot about you can't microwave the offensive line. It has to develop. And it seems to be developing to that level that you want, at least the way it appears. There was a block, I think it was on Caleb's second touchdown, where Nick DeYoung was able to go from right tackle to execute a reach on a middle linebacker, which is almost impossible. But how is that? How has the line grown now? Is it kind of reached that point that you want it to reach, and is that why it's executing the high level, or are you doing?
I'm always smiling because we just practiced here about an hour and a half ago. So I walk off the field like, we can't block anybody. It is a process, and we are getting ground. We're not there yet. We'll never get there, hopefully. But I think we're getting better, and the things you're referencing, that takes some experience. It takes a lot of work on the field and in the meeting rooms too. Guys have a real opportunity to really learn and move and improve in the meeting rooms. But the most important work is what they do on the field. And think about some plays that didn't look so good today. Frustration and failure is part of getting better too, though. You got to go through some things, and sometimes try to match what you're doing against maybe what they're doing. It doesn't always look pretty, but if we can get there by Saturday, it'd be a good thing. But I think the guys are more confident right now. They're certainly more physically mature than they've been, and we're healthier, and that helps too. So all those things help. And George does a great job with those guys. But it's a process, and if we're doing it right, we'll get better week to week, and hopefully by mid-season or so, we're really starting to have some proficiency.
Blake Hornstein, Hawkeye headquarters. Coach, after the Nebraska game last year, you had mentioned that no official had gone up to you before the game and said, hey, you can't do this. This is an invalid fair catch. I was curious that since since that play happened last year, has that come up in a pre-game talk with the officials? And I guess, is it clear to you now what an illegal fair catch is?
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page on that, and you know, I really don't want on that road again too much, but you know, probably the biggest, when I go back to Michigan, I think it was 06, we were up there, and there was like a 6-minute review, 7-minute review. That's where the issue starts to come into play, and then, you know, when you're told we're reviewing one thing, and then we get a different interpretation about something else. But those lacks of communication, that lack of communication, I think is a little disturbing afterwards, and I do think we addressed that in the out of season as a conference. I think we're in a better place right now, and you know, bottom line, you know, there's still, I think that play was open for interpretation, but it was more about the process afterwards. It was really kind of troubling. So, you know, it is kind of what it is. But I think we have, in the out of season, cleaned that up a little bit.